Well, I thought I'd make a video a little bit different today. Usually I'm talking about living your dreams and complaining about people. Well, I guess I will be complaining about people today. So if this government shutdown continues, apparently a lot of people aren't going to get the money that they typically get. So I don't want to get into the politics of it too much. I really don't, but I'm afraid I'm going to end up spouting something off that will turn it into a political conversation. I do expect the military to get paid, but apparently they're not going to get paid. Federal workers, you know what? Oh, the other one is air traffic controllers. I expect them to get paid too, because they have to work. They're working right now. But federal workers that have been laid off, you get laid off. Companies do it all the time. I've worked for companies that got laid, you get laid off, especially around Christmas time, right when you need the money the most. That's when these automotive companies that I used to work for, suppliers to automotive companies, would lay off because, well, several reasons. I don't want to get into all that. That's not the point of this video. But people get laid off. It happens. Work slows down. You get laid off. So, federal workers, you should have had a contingency plan, savings account. That's what that's for. Vacation time accrued, all that stuff. But then I want to talk about food stamps or SNAP or whatever it's called nowadays. I don't really care what it's called. We changed the name of it so it doesn't sound so bad. So I really don't want to get into politics of this, but I have been on Facebook quite a bit. And, people make their excuses why they're on food stamps. Look, if you're over 60 or your retirement age or whatever it is, I don't have a problem if you're on food stamps. You get Social Security. You put your time in. You're making, you did everything you could to get your Social Security. You're getting paid Social Security. So, and if it's just not enough, I understand the food stamps in that aspect. Children, I understand if children need food stamps. Okay, that makes sense. But some of the stuff I've been seeing on Facebook just aggravates the heck out of me. First of all, they're claiming that on Facebook that I only pay $17 a year for their food stamps. Well, you could go a lot of different directions in this. First of all, I did the math. If every individual was paying an equal amount, each taxpayer was paying an equal amount, it actually adds up to $625 per taxpayer. But the way Google advertises it, the average person pays $36. So I don't even know where they're getting the $17. So I would imagine what it is, if you make a lot of money, you pay a lot in food stamps. I don't know how they split this all up and make sense out of it, but if you don't make a lot of money, like myself, you pay less in food stamps. So the average American pays, $36, but the higher end pays, $2,000, whatever it is. But it's $100 billion a year for food stamps, is what I'm gathering. 47 million people are on food stamps, and there is, there's 350 million people on it. So it's like 12% of the population is on food stamps, which in my mind is huge. That's a huge number. And I've met people on food stamps, and here's the thing I've noticed is, well, they don't want to work. They're very interested in drinking a lot and smoking a lot of, substances that keep them from being able to work. If you can't pass a drug test, then, my mind, I know this is terrible, but if you can't pass a drug test to go get a job, then, maybe you shouldn't get food stamps. I know that's a terrible thing to say, but I had to pass a drug test so I can pay you that $36 a year or $625 a year or whatever you want to call it. To me, I feel like everybody should be paying, is paying an equal amount. I mean, it's all percentages, $36 a month. To me, in my paycheck, that's quite a bit of money. I met a homeless person one time. Spoiled, rotten, absolutely spoiled, rotten. And I knew her pretty well, and I said, man, you're so spoiled. And she said, how can I be spoiled? I'm homeless. But she had expectations that everybody just catered to her. So, it's just interesting. You're allowed to go smoke your stuff, and you're allowed to drink, and you're allowed to party all night, and then when you're asked to work, no, I can't do that. Give me food stamps, and you get food stamps. And I don't know why we can't pass some sort of law that says, hey, you know what? You got to be able to pass a drug test. But even at that, you know, they try to manipulate that system too, so I guess it doesn't matter. I don't know. So the one that I found most interesting on Facebook was some lady was very upset that they're not going to get food stamps, and that what was it? Her children's father doesn't pay child support. So I need food stamps. And I got to thinking about this. Okay, so you had children with a loser who doesn't pay child support. And that's what I'm going to call him, because I paid child support. I paid a lot of child support too. It was insane. I had to give up a car. I had to pay off a car, give it to her. I mean, there was a lot of money going into child support. So I don't feel sorry for people that don't pay. You can't afford child support. You pay your child support. If you're going to have kids, pay child support. And that's for both males and females. If the father has the children, you need to pay child support, Mom. But so she says, the father doesn't pay child support, so I need food stamps. So let me understand this. You have a child with a loser, and then expect me, even though if it's only $36 a month or $625 a month, or a year, excuse me, whatever it is, you expect me to pay for your kids. I didn't get to have any of the, let's call it fun, to have those kids. Why am I paying for it? I just don't get it. That doesn't make sense to me. You expect me to pay for your children because you and some loser decided to have kids and can't afford to have kids. That's my problem. Look, I want kids to have food. Don't get me wrong. And I will support the kids. That's fine. But you need to go get a job. Well, I can't get a job. I got to raise my kids. You need to get a job. You need to figure it out. A lot of people do it. I watched a video from one lady today, and she was talking about how she was very angry at people complaining that they needed food stamps. And what she said was, my husband and I were laid off at the same time. I kind of gathered they'd worked at the same place. I mean, I understand how that can happen. Yeah, so they worked at the same place and both got laid off at the same time, and they needed 1 month of help. So they went and applied for all the assistances that they could possibly apply for, the unemployment and all that stuff. And they were turned down. I don't know if they got turned down for unemployment, but for the food stamps and all that other assistance, they got turned down because they made too much money. And I thought, you know what, that's right. A family just needs 1 month to get over a hump. Just to get over a hump that's kind of unavoidable, not their fault. Whatever the case was, just needed to get over a hump, and you're not allowed to. But if you've been on food stamps for 10 years and you got 10 kids from 10 different fathers, oh yeah, you get food stamps. Absolutely, you're a prime candidate. Another person said, isn't it interesting how mothers can get food stamps and don't have to pay a lot in taxes and, you have a bunch of kids, but a single man has to pay more in taxes than someone that's married or have children. It's just the unfairness of the whole program. And then you're going to complain, I'm homeless, but I would demand that you pay my bills. Well, you could help. You could help pay your bills. You could do something to contribute to your bills. I didn't produce your bills. I didn't produce your children. So why do I have full responsibility of all that obligation? I understand we live in a society where we're supposed to take care of things. But now they're threatening us. They're threatening us. Watched several videos today, and one lady said that she's going to go into Walmart after the food stamps, after November 1st when the food stamps close down. She's going to go into Walmart, and she's going to, what'd she say? Her husband and her are going to fill up 2 carts of food and then walk out of the store, and if anybody stops me, my husband's going to punch you in the mouth. Well, first, you've already committed a crime because you've expressed that you are going to break the law. So it's premeditated. Second, you go in there and you steal food, you're going to be arrested for stealing food. It's against the law. I don't care how privileged you think you are, that you don't have to have a job and you expect me to pay for everything. Now you're just gonna go steal stuff. Well, that's against the law, you know. At least when you're stealing from my pocketbook, that's legal. I mean, some politician has said it's legal for them to take money from me and give it to you. That's theft. It is theft. I don't want to give it to you, but they're making me give it to you. That's theft. That's robbery. But now you're just going to go in and steal the food. So, and then finally, if I don't let you steal the food, you're going to punch me in the mouth. Well, that's assault. So now your husband is going to be brought up on 2 charges, assault and theft, and you're going to be brought up on theft and probably accomplice, because it's premeditated. You've already said this is what you're going to do. And then, so I guess you will actually have all your children fed, and you will get fed with housing and, you know, air conditioning and heat and all that while you're in prison. So I guess you win either way. Good deal for you. I mean, that makes sense. Although you won't be with your children because they'll all be in foster homes. We'll be taking care of those kids, and we'll be taking care of you in prison. We'll be taking care of your husband in prison. So congratulations, you still won. It's amazing to me. No matter what we do, we have to pay. And I just don't agree. Now they're saying that if you go out in the parking lot, they're just going to rob you. They're going to mug you. They're going to take your food out of your cart. Well, no, you're not taking food from my cart. I have a hard enough time making money as it is. And I'm not going to let you take food from my cart. I don't care who you think you are. I don't care how privileged you think you are. If you're going to be taking food from me, I have this. I've showed you this before. And I'm going to spray you. I've been really itching to spray somebody with it anyways. This is going to be a good deal. I'm really going to enjoy it. Because if you are stealing from me, I'm allowed to use physical violence to stop you from stealing from me. That is legal. I'm allowed to do that. If you come on my property and steal something, I'm allowed to use physical force to stop you. Well, this is physical force, and it's going to be fun to see you crying laying on the middle of the road. Oh, you sprayed me. Why'd you spray me? And you're going to want to call the cops and say I assaulted you and all that. But that's fine. I have insurance where I can hire a lawyer with insurance because I was defending myself from a theft, which is legal. It's all legal. So, you know, I pay my insurance just to make sure that if you try to rob me, I can spray you. Now, if you arm rob me, you know, things are going to get a little messy there. So I just, let's not even worry about the armed robbery, because that's going to be pretty serious. You know, let's just not do that. But if you want to try to rob me, please do. This is going to be fun. I would enjoy it. So I've told Carolyn that usually she pushes the cart out to the car for some reason. I don't know why she does that, but that's what well, I do know how that works, because when we walk up to the counter, I usually push the cart up to the counter, and then I unload the cart onto the conveyor, and then I push the cart forward, and as the bags are coming off the carousel at Walmart, she puts the bags into the cart. So then she just grabs the cart as I'm paying for the food, and she walks out and she's got the cart. Well, this time, you know, we're just going to make sure I have the cart, because I would want you to rob me, not her. Please rob me. This is going to be fun. So, and I'm encouraging my viewers to pick one of these up. This is Palm, P-A-L-M, I believe. No, P-O-M, Palm. Palm pepper spray. This expires on 2027. And, you know, I hear this is supposed to be really good stuff. I trust the guy who sold it to me a lot. Here's what is happening right now. People are going to the store now, and the store is apparently very crowded right now. I'm not going to go when it's crowded. I don't like people as it is. I want to go in the morning time when there's no crowd. And so I'm going to go when it's the most dangerous, just so you can try to mug me. So I'm just warning you. It will be an interesting day if you try to mug me in the parking lot at Walmart. Good luck. So if you'll click this up next box, take the video over to my other channel where I appreciate you. Go check out. So I hope I can inspire you. Stop paying all this. It's just a nightmare. So you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.